Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of Screen Facts with Jason Davis. Each episode, we'll talk about a movie we like, and we'll share some fun trivia during the conversation. Please like us at facebook.com/screenfacts. Post your comments or questions. You can also email screenfacts@yahoo.com or tweet @JasonDavisVoice. This podcast is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com for information about voiceover services for commercials, internet and corporate videos, e-learning, phone messages, and more. I'm Jason Davis, and joining me for this episode, my good pal, it's Erik Reitz.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
We picked a good movie to kick off 2019.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the best, if not the best, sequels ever made.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely think so.
No doubt. In fact, it's very rare that the sequel is possibly better than the original.
Right.
But in this case, there's a strong argument for that.
Oh, definitely. We are talking about
Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
And the thing, to follow up Terminator, because Terminator was a surprise. Terminator was such a strong, simple story, but such a good story that how on earth can you really follow it up? And James Cameron, he just did it. He hit out of the ballpark with this one.
You know, the movie was released July 3rd, 1991. The original Terminator came out in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking, wow, it really took a while for this to happen.
Yeah. So this better be good.
Yeah, it better be good, right? Part of the reason, I think was coming up with a film good enough. And I think also Schwarzenegger wasn't really excited to do a second Terminator at that time.
Right.
Cameron and the producers, I think, worked really hard to convince him with a nice big fat paycheck.
And also
a private jet.
A friggin' jet. Yeah. Now, it was a used jet, so it was only like a $14 million jet.
Only.
So,
yeah,
it was a Gulfstream 3.
Yeah, I mean, Schwarzenegger got paid $15 million for this movie. And,
not bad.
I mean, that's a lot of money anyway you slice it. But, there weren't a lot of guys getting paid that kind of money in 1991.
No.
But Schwarzenegger making the $15 million, he had a total of 700 words of dialogue in this movie. That works out to $21,429 per word.
Wow. Well, the special effects, there was a similar stat because... and we'll talk more about special effects with the whole liquid metal, which was, a phenomenal thing. We'd have to go back to their previous, Cameron movie did The Abyss,
right,
which started kind of like this liquid thing. The liquid metal Terminator was just phenomenal. But anyway, that cost, it was 3.5 minutes, took $5.5 million.
It's nuts.
That works out to $1.57 million per minute.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They obviously made it all back. So let's talk about it. Before we get too far ahead and get too deep in specifics, let's do the
housekeeping.
Yeah, the housekeeping. Exactly. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day, of course, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, who was amazing in this.
Oh, my gosh, she was great.
The introduction of Edward Furlong, who, here's the Kiss reference, also starred in Detroit Rock City.
Right.
Robert Patrick was the T-1000.
He's friggin' awesome.
Incredible. And we'll talk about like specific things in his performance that I read that were very interesting. And of course, Joe Morton plays Miles Dyson.
Oh, right. Yes.
So directed by James Cameron, written by James Cameron and William Wisher. Estimated budget of $102 million.
Right.
Which is a lot more than what the first one had.
Right. Yes. Well, and at first it was only supposed to have about $75 million.
Right.
And the execs were getting a little nervous about it. So they actually, one of them said to Schwarzenegger, hey, can you talk to Cameron about cutting some scenes out or something? Specifically, the first scene with the bar, going into the bar.
No, you needed that.
And Schwarzenegger's like, no, that's important.
Yeah.
You need to have that.
They did a really good job of not letting the audience know. Like, if you're seeing the movie for the first time, now, spoiler alert, if you've never seen Terminator 2...
You're an idiot, first of all.
Stop listening right now, because we're going to talk about key plot points that are going to give away, like, stuff. So anyway, one thing I never noticed before, and maybe I was just looking for it more this time, was when that bar scene, he goes in there and he does what a Terminator does, gets clothes and all that.
Right.
He does not kill anybody.
No, he doesn't.
I never picked up on that. originally when I watched this.
Right, but he wasn't pleasant to everybody.
No,
I mean he threw people around.
He got his business done.
Right.
I
really liked how that scene ended, where he leaves the bar, and of course now he's wearing that guy's badass clothes.
Right,
and of course you hear da-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, bad to the bone.
Bad to the bone. But the bar owner or somebody comes out with a shotgun, and Schwarzenegger just is staring at him. Quick grabs the gun away.
Yeah,
and then he makes a move toward the guy, and you're thinking, oh man, he's gonna
this guy's
crack
a
his neck or something.
Yeah,
and he takes out his sunglasses and puts them on.
Yeah,
that was great, because we know in the first movie he loved his sunglasses.
Well, yeah, it's all part of his look, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, I think they inject the right amount of humor every once in a while.
Yeah.
In a movie about the apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
I think you need to have a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Schwarzenegger, you were saying he wasn't really keen on doing it. The movie, part of that, he didn't think the idea of the Terminator not killing people was going to fly.
Right.
And to me, that's like, holy crap. They're writing this story so that the Terminator actually is not killing people and actually ends up being like the good guy.
Right.
And, we get into the whole thing about he's a better human and a better father than any of the other men that Sarah ever found to try to be, a father figure to John.
Right.
It's just right there. It's amazing that Cameron came up with that storyline. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very well written, and everybody is fantastic, and the effects, amazing. But so domestic gross $205.8 million, foreign gross $315 million. That's $520.8 million worldwide. It's the highest domestic grossing film of 1991, making more than $39 million more than the number 2 film of the year, which was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, if you can believe that.
Really?
Yeah. It outgrossed the original Terminator after just 4 days in theaters. Yeah. I mean, the original movie was sort of a sleeper. It wasn't a big, gigantic moneymaker, but I think it was something that, did pretty well in the theaters. But then when it had a life on cable and stuff, it really
grew into its own.
Yeah, grew into its own.
Yeah, it's like, you can almost say it's kind of like a cult movie, being kind of gritty and all, but obviously, with its popularity, we can't call it a cult film.
Yeah, the Terminator and Terminator 2, for me, hold up very well. I got to be honest with you, these are the only two that matter to me. Maybe because these are the only two that Cameron directed,
Okay.
This movie won a couple of Oscars, too. Best Sound, Best Effects, Sound Effects Editing, Best Effects, Visual Effects, and Best Makeup. In fact, the damaged Terminator look in the climax of the film took 5 hours to apply and an hour to remove.
Wow.
The film has over 300 effect shots, which total almost 16 minutes of running time. And according to James Cameron, there are only 42 CGI shots used in the film. This was probably at the very beginning of CGI technology. And the sound design, too, is really extensive. It's amazing what they did. Just about every incidental movement on screen is replaced. The creaks of the Terminator's leather jacket, his buckle clinks and footsteps. The whole sequence where Sarah escapes from her hospital bed with the paperclip.
Right.
When she's like picking the strap buckle and all that.
Right.
There was no originally recorded sounds. All that was done with Foley and music.
Oh, okay. On. The sound of when the liquid Terminator is morphing or he's becoming, what that sound is?
When he's going through the bars.
Right.
And he gets stuck with the gun gets stuck.
Okay.
They turned a can of dog food.
Yes.
Over and just the dog food out of the can.
Right.
All of the visual effects, there's a lot of puppetry. Like Stan Winston is like the special effects guru, and he comes up with all these like the robots and all that kind of stuff. You can tell when it's sort of a puppet version of Schwarzenegger being shot or being hit with the like battering ram kind of thing or whatever. You could tell it's obviously like an animatronic thing,
right?
But the detail is so amazing. That you don't even care. You're like, holy shit, that really looks like Schwarzenegger.
You know what? And you cringe.
Yeah.
So it's definitely real enough. You're not laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, how many movies have you seen?
Right. You're not going, oh, that looks so fake. You're really invested. It's totally,
you're way into it.
Yeah.
You start talking about the technology that was being used, and we said, okay, you have the Abyss. But the Abyss, those water features, they didn't really react with the people. I think there was one scene where maybe one of the stars, she touched it. In this, the people are interacting. It has had to work because the second Terminator, I mean, he's like the main character in a way. So
yeah,
and
actually,
Schwarzenegger like punches him and it folds around his hand. I mean, there's interaction. It had to work.
And just how you see like people's reflections in him, and there's so many details that you can look for when you watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like when he's in the helicopter, he gets in the helicopter and he's like he pours himself into the window, the seat, and then as he's like forming, you see like the pilot's reflection in him. It's amazing.
Right.
The detail is so amazing and so groundbreaking.
But the thing is, there's only, like we said, 3.5 minutes or so of that in the movie. But holy crap,
blows your mind.
Really blows, and it makes you think it can't be just 3.5 minutes.
No,
but they did so many other things near the end of the movie where both the Terminators are fighting, and you see him all silvered out, throwing Schwarzenegger around.
Right.
Well, each clip is barely a second or two long. So in cases like that, it was just a guy wearing like a silver suit. Your eye and your brain fill it all in.
That's a testament to how great the script is. Because, if this was just a special effects movie, where you're just like, oh, I'm going to be blown away by all the visual effects, and because there's a lot of movies like that. It's not. This uses that technology and that tool to tell the story better and to blow your mind.
Right.
But at the same time, it doesn't rely. It's not a crutch. It's not the movie. The movie could stand on its own without a lot of the visual effects.
Right.
The visual effects are just the icing on the cake.
One of the ILM creators was talking about how he actually used like Photoshop as one of the programs to like soften out edges or certain things.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, Photoshop, but of course. Hugh said, no, we had all these other things. I mean, ILM went from like 6 employees to 36 employees to make this movie.
It's crazy.
So that's pretty awesome.
That company set the standard for visual effects in movies.
Yeah.
So, they had to use technology for other reasons too. Production took so long on the movie that Edward Furlong started to age. He started to like grow.
Yeah, you can see the difference.
I mean, I never really caught it before because I wasn't looking for it, I guess.
Well, early in the movie when the T2 gets in the cop car and he punches in her name and and you see the son, John Connor, is supposed to be 10 years old.
Right.
And then boom, you go to him at home working on the mini bike with that mullet ginger friend of his.
Danny Cooksey, who, by the way, was the cute kid that they brought into Different Strokes, like toward the end of that series run. Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
And later on, after this movie, he ended up being in a metal band. Bad for Good.
Bad for Good?
Bad, the number 4, Good. That was the name of the band. And their debut album was produced by Steve Vai.
Oh, all right.
Throwing a lot of like.
Is it any good?
It's pretty good. And it's like him, and it was like he was the singer, and him and the rest of the guys in the band at that time were like just teenagers, but they kick ass, like all top notch. Musicians, just amazing. But anyway,
that's cool. So John seems old at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
it's like there's no way a 10-year-old is doing this, saying this, riding this mini bike like this.
Right. Well, Edward Furlong was actually 13 in real life when he made this movie.
And throughout the movie, his voice is cracking, which is fine. I mean, that's great. He's supposed to be a kid, so I'm fine with it.
They actually had to dub like all of his parts, all his dialogue.
Well,
after production, because they had to match everything.
Yeah.
So he had to go back in and re-record like everything he did on camera.
Yeah, later on in the movie when they're like going through the desert and all, he looks younger there.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but that's if you're like looking for it.
Yeah.
How legit was Linda Hamilton in this movie though?
She worked out like 3 hours a day for 13 weeks, 6 days a week.
Yep.
And then Patrick, he did some running because he wanted to be in shape enough to be able to run fast without even opening his mouth. I mean, he was so great at just being deadpan.
Yeah.
And his eyes, he got those steely blue eyes.
I was reading about like how he mimicked the head movements of the bald eagle.
Oh, okay.
Like if you watch him, like the way he moves his head is supposed to be like a bald eagle. And then when he's kind of moving through a crowd to chase John, that's like a shark moving in on its prey.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's like super cool.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing about him is that he was what the original concept of the Terminator was supposed to be in the first movie.
Okay.
A guy that can kind of just blend in with the crowd.
Right.
Schwarzenegger kind of stands out. I mean,
right. He doesn't blend.
Yeah, he does not blend.
Oh, you blend.
But it actually worked out well that they were able to bring that concept back for this.
Right.
Because, especially with him as a cop, you wouldn't suspect that he's a guy that you have to get away from, except if you're a bad kid like John Connor.
Right.
Like he's running away from him, not because he knows he's a Terminator.
Right.
But because he thinks a cop's after him. Mm-hmm. And then the whole reveal of Schwarzenegger as the protector in that back hallway in the mall is fantastic.
That is great because John is looking at him thinking, wait, my mom described a guy like this.
Right.
And and John's just freaking out. It's like, is he coming to kill me?
Yeah.
And he's not.
Right.
I was like,
get
that's
down.
So great. And then get down.
Get down.
And then how awesome when now they go to get his mom.
Yes.
And of course, the Terminator saying, negative, I'm here to protect you.
Right.
And he's
that's
like, no, we have to get
that is the
my
worst
mom.
thing you could do right now is go to your mom.
Right.
The other Terminator is going to go there too.
He's like, but we got to get my mom.
Right. Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
Which is what Reitz says to her in the first movie.
Exactly.
Which is awesome.
And just her face when she sees the Terminator come out the elevator.
Yes.
Because, she's running. She's almost out of the place.
Right.
And then she sees that.
Right.
And I just remember the
thinks
first
she's done.
time seeing that. It's like, oh, my gosh, she thinks she's done. And I like to have the whole interaction, all of this happened in front of the doctor.
Yes.
That was great,
Yeah.
The doctor sees all of it,
right?
And he's got to be thinking, "Holy shit,
she's not crazy.
She's not crazy.
Yeah.
She's right."
Oh, by the way, she should have won an Oscar just for laying there motionless without blinking or any expression when the guy licks her face.
Ugh. And I read he ate like a tuna sandwich right before that.
Oh no! Come on.
He's like, I'm going to make this really gross.
I'm going to make you earn that paycheck, sister.
Icky.
Yeah, and that they didn't do that in one take either.
No,
I'm sure Cameron made her do that a few times.
Right. But wow, she was amazing.
Yeah. And just how the shape she was in and the way she cocks the rifle with the one arm later on. It's just amazing. Yeah. Everything she does in the movie. And again, go back to the first Terminator. Her character is this little not an ass kicker and the mother of the leader of
Mother
the resistance.
Of the future. Right. Yeah.
And so the way she transforms herself, to be this warrior to protect her son and to protect the human race is just fantastic.
And I really like, just some of the backstory that they just say that, John, he's telling his friend that, my mom took me to Nicaragua and and I learned how to do all this and it was great to see that, he had this affinity for technology.
Right. With the when he's with the ATM and all that.
Yeah, which is obviously incredibly important. I thought it was kind of funny that he was able to use that thing in the Cyberdyne building when they changed all the codes and everything.
That's one of those moments that you kind of just go, all right, we'll let it slide.
Yeah.
There's too much else going on now. And
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like also just, if you're going to talk about the whole time sequencing thing, and it's like, well, wait a minute, how can you
there's a lot of stuff that you go, wait a second,
right? But they ignore that, which is fine because
but like for example, when they blow up Cyberdyne,
right,
and all of Dyson's work that leads to what becomes Skynet,
right?
Why aren't the Terminators eliminated?
Well, to me, because the chips still exist until they melt them, and until they melt the Terminator, it's still there.
It's not like, in Back to the Future when Marty starts disappearing from the picture and all that.
Which to me, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because how can you really travel back in time? You didn't exist then. So you can't be there. But then you start getting into alternate universes and all that.
But then you could argue, well, that it doesn't make sense. Then the first movie doesn't make sense because Reese is John Connor's dad.
Right.
He has to go back in time to conceive him.
Right, exactly.
With Sarah. So it's very, it's all actually very cool. Whether or not it makes sense, I guess, is irrelevant.
Right. I think it is irrelevant because the whole rest of the movie and the story's so good that, don't really care about it that much.
I just wanted to say one other thing about Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And I'm glad he got the role because he crushed it.
You know who was supposed to get it?
There are a couple of people that I read and I was really shocked.
Yeah.
Who did you read?
Billy Idol.
Billy Idol, yeah.
I thought he would have been good.
He certainly had a cool look, but is he the kind of actor that Robert Patrick is? Probably not.
Well, no. My concern would be he would have too much expression.
Yeah.
Patrick was great at saying a lot
I think,
by doing nothing.
I think Robert Patrick blinks once on camera.
Yeah. And there was only a couple times where he actually makes a face, like because he's been blown away and he's like torn in half. That's the only time there's any kind of face. One of my favorite just looks of his is, again, near the end. Sarah's been shooting at him, and he looks like he's just about ready to fall off, fall into the melting iron.
Yeah.
And she's out of bullets.
Yes.
And he just looks at her with those friggin' steel eyes.
Shark eyes.
And then he just kind of wigs his fingers. You're like, oh, damn.
No, this is going to get real now.
And there were so many great, tense moments.
Yeah.
Like the scene where he's in the truck with the liquid nitrogen.
Yes.
And he ends up freezing.
Yeah.
Now, that was done. They actually had an amputee actor.
Yeah.
That wasn't CGI either. That was an amputee actor.
Yeah, and just like the creative editing. Very cool.
God.
Very
but
cool.
I just remember every time, just last night when I saw it again, I'm screaming after he shoots.
Yeah.
After Schwarzenegger shoots and the shards go flying, I'm like, go pick them up. Separate all these pieces.
Yeah.
That way he can't come back.
Now
and
that you
I'm
mention
screaming, why didn't they do that?
There's a scene where the Terminator is, he's chasing after them, and they're in the cop car. He's chasing them on foot, and then he forms like the giant hook
the
things,
big spikes thing.
Yeah, and he climbs up onto the car,
right?
And then they shoot him, and they shoot his arms off, and then he falls off, and then there's like a little piece of one of his claws on the back of the car,
right?
And John grabs it quickly and throws it off.
Right?
Why would you? I would keep it. That's one less piece of him that he can,
Maybe, but then again, would you also kind of be like, oh, do I want to keep this?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of gnarly. But then it's cool how he sucks it up back into himself.
Oh, that was
all that
so
stuff.
Great.
One other guy that was considered for the role was Blackie Lawless, who was the lead singer of a group called Wasp. They were a metal band.
Yeah.
They may even still be around.
Right.
But they were big back in the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
The reason he didn't get the role is because he's 6'4", too tall. They wanted a guy that kind of didn't really stand out in a crowd.
Yeah.
Never knew that. Never knew about that.
No, not at all. I didn't read
cool.
that anywhere.
Yeah. The mall where the Terminators first find John was the Sherman Oaks Galleria, which we talked about.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and also another Schwarzenegger film, Commando.
Commando.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So a very popular location for movies. So the big nuclear nightmare scene with where Sarah sees like the explosion.
Oh yeah.
And everybody just gets obliterated and stuff. According to U.S. Federal Nuclear Testing Labs personnel, say that it's the most accurate depiction of what a nuclear blast would be like.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any lines or anything that bothered you in the movie?
The only comedic line that was said that I have an issue with, again,
I need a vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
What the heck was that?
Yeah. I think there was, rumor that was improvised. I don't think it works.
No, it doesn't.
Terminator doesn't take a vacation.
Right.
They made a big point of talking about how they don't eat, they don't sleep, they don't do anything but kill.
Right.
Or in this case, protect,
and
because they've been reprogrammed. But
right. And I mean, maybe you can argue, well, John's been teaching him how to be more human.
And that's the argument. That he's become so human at this point that he wants a fucking day off.
Yeah. And you can say, well, that line then helps when they say goodbye and John's crying. Terminator says, I now know why you cry. I just can't.
Right.
And you're like, wow. That's a cool line, but you're still a robot.
Yeah.
A
cyborg, sir.
Cyborg, okay. Pardon moi. So that line just kind of left me like, ugh, really?
I mean,
but everything else.
I'm sure I enjoyed it more the first time I saw it. Now it kind of feels a little forced.
Yeah.
But we're nitpicking.
Oh, yeah.
I like when they go into that bunker with all the weapons. Mm-hmm. He picks up that gun that he blows up all the police with later on when they blow up Cyberdyne. And he just smirks.
Little smirk.
And he goes, "That's definitely you."
That's you.
See, that's a great insertion of a little levity without it being corny.
Right.
Without it being forced. The I need a vacation line feels forced.
That definitely felt
compared
forced.
to something like that.
Yeah.
The last line in the movie, I never really noticed how perfect it is. She says, because of a machine, a Terminator can learn the value of human life. Maybe we can too. Now, it feels a little preachy.
No.
But at the same time,
But the whole movie built up to that, so it's okay.
The point I'm trying to make is that you watch these movies with, apocalyptic visions and stuff. In the past, you kind of go, oh, it's science fiction. It's far-fetched, whatever. Now I kind of don't feel that way.
Oh, yeah. Well, just like on that same note, when, they're in the desert and they're fixing the car or whatever, and they're at a rest stop, and these two little boys are fighting with each other.
Right.
And John just looks at them and says,
we're screwed.
We're not going to make we're not going to make it. And he's like, it's in your nature to destroy yourselves.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, bummer.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't think all men and women think that way. I don't.
No, but the ones that rise to power seem to be.
Yeah.
So there was actually an alternate ending to the movie, too.
It was flash forward to 2027, which was where the story opened. John Connor is a senator, and Hamilton, she's a grandmother, and they're grateful for each day since Judgment Day. Her voiceover says stuff like, August 29th, 1997 came and went. Nothing much happened. Michael Jackson turned 40. Interesting that they bring Michael Jackson up.
Michael Jackson in 1991 was a gigantic superstar.
Right. But I thought this last line, the luxury of hope was given to me by the Terminator, because if a machine can learn the value of human life, so can we, blah, 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 like you said before.
Right. They scrapped that because they felt that it was too upbeat of an ending for a movie that was pretty,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have a happy ending.
No.
We know that they did what they had to prevent Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have to see that he becomes a senator, and that's kind of irrelevant to this story. So I can understand why they didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie really holds up well.
Yeah.
The special effects do not feel antiquated in any way.
No, they still hold up.
They hold up really well done. The story's fantastic. These first two Terminator movies are awesome, and I think any action/sci-fi fan should own them for sure.
Definitely, and know them by heart.
I really enjoyed watching the movie again because it's been a while since I watched it. When I started looking up the trivia about it, I got really excited to see it again, and it did not disappoint seeing it again.
No, not
fantastic.
At all. So
that's all I got.
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, Erik, as always, thank you for being involved with another episode. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Glad to be here.
Cool. And thanks to you guys for listening. Remember, Screen Facts with Jason Davis is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com if you need a voice for a commercial, internet, and corporate video, e-learning, phone message, whatever you need. I'm Jason Davis.
I'm Erik Reitz.
Thanks for listening to Screen Facts.
We'll be back.